In case you missed the memo, women's Y2K fashion is back in style, and buyers on Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, eBay, they are obsessed. And in this video, I'll be breaking down some of the top trending pieces that you can find and flip for big profits online, no matter what platform you sell on. Whether you're sourcing secondhand or you've got these items in storage in your own house, from low-rise jeans to baby tees, from rhinestone details to early 2000s mall brands, these are items that are selling fast, and resellers in the know are cashing in right now. Stick around and I'll show you exactly what to look for. Now, some of the same exact styles that we wore back in the day, they are selling for 3 to 5 times their resale value today. The best part, you can find these pieces for just a few bucks at the thrift store. And that's exactly how I've made well over $100,000 net profit myself as a part-time reseller. And I say this to encourage you and to help you see what is possible for you. If we haven't met yet, my name is LeeMeier, and I am so glad that you're here. Now we're gonna go ahead and dive on in. I'm gonna show you exactly what is selling when it comes to Y2K women's fashion. Let's get started.
So many fun things here. Let's get started. The thing that I love most about these Y2K items is that you don't have to have big name brands, luxury brands to be able to make good money from clothes. So this is a pair of brocade pants. These do have lace here at the waist. That is very popular from this time frame. And this is from a brand that's called Match. Now, from the Y2K era, especially items that are prior to 2000, you're going to come across a lot of items that are made in the USA. Right around the year 2000 was when items started being made out of the country. So prior to that, those USA tags are common. Now, this pair of pants sold for $65. Now, this is a bikini from a brand I'm not familiar with. Here in the description, it says that they purchased it while on vacation, it sounds like, in Greece. Brand tag is upside down there, but you can tell this is from the Y2K era just based off of the pattern. Also, those string bikinis were really popular, and this set sold for $50. Now, don't overlook mall brands. Some of them are doing really well, especially with their older items, and Hollister is one of those. This is a cropped utility style jacket from that era. It is faux fur lined, and this women's jacket sold for $90. Now, Lip Service is a brand that's still around, but it did have its heyday around that Y2K era with goth and emo style clothing. And this little tank top dress sold for $150. Now, their tags do look different on different items, but this is what it looks like on this one.
Real quick, a big thank you to Vendu for sponsoring this video. Whether I'm listing Y2K fashion, current trends, or 70s disco, the place that I list from, Vendu. Vendu is the ultimate hub for resellers. It gives you one place to manage your entire business from and get visibility across multiple platforms. It's how I've hit that $100,000 mark, and it continues to be the foundation for my business. If you're interested in checking it out for yourself, then you're gonna wanna head down here in the description below this video, and that's where you will find a link to be able to get 25% off of your first month.
Now, this one is a little spaghetti strap dress. And this one's from BCBG. This is one that I definitely recommend using caution on these items with this brand. You're gonna wanna source items based off of the style, especially items like this from certain eras, like the Y2K. So there is the tag there, and this little dress went for $50. Now, this is another mall brand, Urban Outfitters. This is actually a new item. This is not true from Y2K. You can see there on the tag, it actually says Y2K cargo. So be aware that if item is currently being made, that can be a sought after item, because again, it's about those styles. This is what I would call a parachute pant or utility pants, and these sold for $70. Now, I always consider accessories a subset of selling used clothes, and these bags from Juicy Couture Y2K era are doing so well. Some of them are selling for a few $100s. Now, they're usually velour. They usually have some details on them, such as the name across the bag. This particular bag went for $175. Now, this one is a shorter length dress with a handkerchief hem. You can see it zoomed in there. There's also some glitter mixed in. So many fun details with this one. Got some rhinestone and metal detailing there at the bust. Again, that's very common from this era. And this dress from essentially a no-name brand sold for $45. Now, one of the other things that I want to point out here, first off, there's the tag, but one of the other things that I want to point out here are their keywords. So in addition to Y2K, sometimes it's more about just calling out to the era, but it's also about calling out the look. So some of these looks that this dress fits with are whimsy goth as well as fairy. So they went ahead and called those out in the title, as well as they doubled up on a lot of keywords, actually a lot of really good keywords in addition to those aesthetics like whimsy goth and fairy. They doubled up on features, what the silhouette of this dress is. Let me give you some examples of that. Drop waist, handkerchief. I mentioned that handkerchief hem. They've got that there. Ruching cinch side. All of these little details you're going to want to call out in your listing. Halter top, V-neck, low cut. All of those terms help the right buyers find your listings. It's what I call high intent searches. And these types of searches are what buyers are willing to pay more for and to actually go and buy the product, not just browse. So if you're tired of items just sitting there, keywords might be one of those big missing pieces of the puzzle for you. Now, this one is a halter tank top. This one has got some beadwork on it. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this one. Just so many little details. Essentially, again, an unknown brand, not a brand that everybody's probably searching for. And you're going to notice in the title, they didn't even bother wasting space with this brand. It says UVA USA. Probably nobody out there is searching, but this one sold, even though it's an unknown or unsearched brand, it's still sold for $40 based off of the look of this. Now, this is another mini dress. They did call it strapless. I may have gone with more of a halter because it does look like it has a couple strings that tie there around the neck. And this is the name of the brand, Outside. Again, another essentially unknown brand. And this dress went for $45. Butterfly print was also big in this era. And you're also going to notice whimsy goth there in the title, spelled a little bit differently. Really, it doesn't matter. Most search engines are pretty smart to be able to distinguish the differences, even spelling differences like that. And it's from a brand called Ronald Cole. And this butterfly dress went for $40. Now, this is what is known as a baby tee. And that's because of that cropped sleeve as well as a little bit tighter fit. This one has an all over landscape print to it, as well as a few details with sparkles. Now, this is from a brand that's called Blue Canyon. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe that that was a Walmart brand. And this tee sold for $45. Now, this is a mini skirt from Abercrombie and Fitch. It's got spell out across the backside there, as well as at the front. And this little skirt went for $49. Don't underestimate those mall brands, especially older Abercrombie items. Another Abercrombie item, these plaid mini skirts are doing so well, and these are short. I do want to point out some of the keywords here: schoolgirl, academia, and clueless. Up your keyword there. This is a size 00 and it sold for $148. By the way, you do not have to watch every TV show or have watched every movie to be able to capitalize on keywords like this. I actually walk you through in my your guide how to spot high ticket items like this in under 2 minutes using free tools. Another Y2K dress. With this one, they used keywords of fairy and grunge. And this one is from a brand called Studio One. I'm not super familiar with this. My guess is that this is a low value brand. This dress went for $40. And this is a pair of wide leg crop pant jeans from a brand Cavaricci. And these sold for $42. And these Henley shirts are doing so well from Abercrombie, Hollister, Arabistol, American Eagle. This is one that's ribbed knit that sold for $49. Another dress here that fits really well with that goth or whimsy goth. They did go ahead and use a keyword witchy there in the title that does fit this dress really well. So many details, sequins on this, a little bit better look at that crochet. This is from a brand called Ariella. It sold for $49. And there's the bottom hem of that dress. Now with this one, the brand is not listed, unfortunately, but this does appear to be a legitimate sale based on the number of items they did for their listing. And this was for $100 because of the little details on this. You can see there's a little bit of scallop edge there along the straps. There's beadwork on the straps. There's rib knitting there. There's larger ribs across the bust, smaller ribs for the body, and that little tie front. And this ribbed tank top sold for $100. This one is an absolutely beautiful dress with these crisscross straps in the back, that brocade fabric. And this one sold for $80. Stepping out is the brand on this. Now, calling out the fabric, that brocade, as well as organza, whatever that fabric is more than just the materials that are listed on the material content tag, but those fabrics are things that buyers are actually searching for, and it helps them be able to better visualize your item more than just seeing it on the screen. They're able to kind of feel what that is like. And more than that, they're searching for these terms. It's one of the most underutilized type of keyword by resellers. Now with this dress, this one has an organza overlay. That's a very stiff material. It holds its shape really well. You can see how those ruffles cascade down and they hold their shape. This dress sold for $50. With this one, the brand is unmarked. Another absolutely beautiful dress, definitely not a whimsy goth or witchy look with this one. They did use Barbie in their title, which fits this one really well as ballet core with that kind of fit and flare with that corset bodice. This one sold for $74. This is from a brand that is called Naomi's, but it's so much more about just the name on the label. It's about the look with these items. You can see the beadwork and the sequins there, then $74 for this. Now, this one is a lot of 4 items, but I wanted to show these because these are lower value brands. They're probably not anything that you would flip on their own or just because of that name. Now, these are an all over print, and that is one of those trends from Y2K that has resurged. Let me show you some of these labels. One World, we've got Studio Gem, we've got one called Chandri, and Take Two. So if you come across any items like this or any items that are reminiscent of Y2K and these trending looks, don't hesitate to bundle them together to be able to make it worth your time. Another item that is really trending with this Y2K resurgence are these chunky loafer style shoes. Now, it does not matter the brand with these shoes. There's all sorts of different brands that are doing well, $40 to $100+ mark for this style. This is from a brand called No Restrictions. This is not a brand I've heard of before or one that I'm familiar with, but this pair of shoes went for $40. One brand that is really trending from the Y2K era is Victoria's Secret. This is such a cute cottage core. I probably would have put that somewhere here in the title. They did use Milkmaid, but it's sold for $45. Now, that's a brand that you want to be careful with. If it's an older item, there's a really good chance that that will sell for about $40 to $70 or $80 for that piece. There is the tag there for this one, and it is a small. This is actually an unbranded blouse. This one sold for $59. I want to point out some of the keywords being used here. And it's really about being able to pair the look of this item with the right keywords that are going to draw in the right buyer intent. So let's take a look at some of the keywords. They've got romantic as well as boho down there in their description, and in their style tags, they've got romantic, Y2K, and boho. Anywhere that you can use words, that is where you're going to want to use keywords. The only suggestion that I would have is to go ahead and put that in the title as well. That's going to allow buyers to be able to find the items that they're actually looking for, that they're ready to pull out their wallet and buy. Got another t-shirt here. This one happens to be from Hot Topic. This is a brand that is called Fine. It's got that little cat there on the front. Unfortunately, they didn't do the best job with their pictures to show the shape this t-shirt, but I do believe that it is very likely that it is a baby tee with those shorter sleeves. And there's that fine marking there on the outside as well. $50 for this t-shirt. These floral tapestry patterns are doing really well also. This jacket actually happens to be from Cabby, which is a brand that I recommend using caution with. But this little jacket sold for $89. So I'm not familiar with this brand at all. It's called Pink Baby. If you are, let me know in the comments. And this is a little cropped sweatshirt set with matching skirt. And this one sold for $50. Now, the way to be able to identify this as Y2K is based off of the look, the font, and the large spell out across the hood, as well as that skirt. That was very popular, very trending during that time frame. This is another listing where the seller bundled a set of tank tops, and most of these are no-name brands. One of them is Volcom. Now, they bundled these together, just little spaghetti strap based tank tops, and sold this set for $44. Unfortunately, there's no brand tags with this one, but these all do appear to be no name or low value brands, with the exception of this one from Volcom. All right, so come across these mesh tank tops with sequins or beadwork, you got at least 100+ bucks on your hand. I don't care what brand it is from. There's all sorts of different brands that are selling with this look for well over the $100 mark. This one's actually got a few flaws in it, and it still sold for $127. Unfortunately, this one doesn't seem to have a tag, but I've seen these from Rave, Wet Seal, Charlotte Russe, any of those mall brands that you can think of. You're looking at over $100 for these types of items. Now, a similar brand to that lip service that we talked about earlier is a brand that is called Trip. That's what the tag looks like there, but they make so many unique items. Now, with this one, you can see those eye hooks up the front of that corset style, and this halter sold for $115. Another Abercrombie item to show you here, but really anything that has a lot of lace detailing around the neckline is going to do well, because that is a look straight out of Y2K. And this little tank top cami sold for $40. All right, next up, a silk top. This one's got some embroidery around the neckline, and this top sold for $70. I'm laughing because I was looking at this description. It says size small, but fits like a modern size, extra small or fitted small. I am cringing at that. Yes, Y2K unfortunately is considered vintage, which is more than 20 years old. If you've got kids that grew up during that time frame, or you yourself were in high school, college during that time frame, maybe you even have some of these items in your house, in storage, in the attic, in the basement, maybe still in your closet. Now, this maxi length dress from a brand that is called Ice sold for $65. A Jones of New York dress here. This one has burnout on it. You can see that velvet burnout, how that's been burned away. This floral pattern has been left behind. This is another treatment that is really popular from this era, one that buyers are paying more money for. Now, this dress, Jones of New York, is a brand again. That's one that I recommend with caution, definite caution. But when you're coming across a style like this, there's a good chance that could be a good flip for you. And this particular dress went for $56. Now, this is a super fun jacket with that faux leather and that fur, actually from a brand that is called Blue Asphalt. This is a Wet Seal brand. You can see there on the front how that ties. And this one sold for $75. Totally screams Y2K down there in the description. Yes, I agree. Now, I mentioned those Henleys earlier from Abercrombie, Hollister, American Eagle. This is one from Self Esteem. Definitely a low value brand, but this one still sold for $42. It's not ribbed knit, and there is the tag for you. Another Victoria's Secret item. This is a slip dress. You're going to notice keywords here of Barbie, fairy core, and coquette. And this dress, this one's got a gold label on it. This one sold for $55. Another one of these beaded halter tops, unfortunately without a tag. Rampage is another one of the brands that I have seen with these. And this one sold for $125. Now, this one is a new with tags item, but I had to show this one because it is from Forever 21. Now, with a lot of these patterns, they may have a little bit of a 70s look to them. During that Y2K timeframe, it was kind of a lot of looks that were pulled in from the 70s. They say that fashion trends rotate about every 20 to 30 years. That is absolutely true, and why these Y2K items are back in. Now, this is a halter top from a no-name brand. It's called Shadow. It's got a dragon there. That is one of the features that was really trending during the Y2K timeframe. I do have a video where I walk you through those different features. And this one sold for $75. I will link to that video up here. Okay, so I finally got one here with a brand for you of these little halter beaded tops. This one is actually from Wet Seal, and this sold for $127. There's the Wet Seal tag there for you. Another one from Wet Seal, $135. Yes, halters were big during that time frame. And this one from a brand that is called Lipstick. This sold for $65. And one of these halters from Charlotte Russe. Charlotte Russe, that's a mall brand, $145 for that. Tube tops were also very big. This one is from BB, a brand that I recommend using caution with. There are some brands like that, and it's about much more than just sourcing based off of brands. You really do need to know what is trending, what types of styles that buyers are after, and this tube top went for $65. Rave, $140. There's the tag on this one. A long sleeve tee here, all over print. It's got mesh here on the sleeves as well. This is from a brand called Kept Secret. And that one sold for $40. Another one of those baby doll heavily neck sweaters. This one is from Hollister and it sold for $88. Another baby doll sweater from a brand that is called American Vintage, and this one sold for $44. And there's that lace detailing again there across the neckline as well as the hem. This is a silk camisole from Express and it sold for $71. And yes, it is silk. It's a silk spandex blend 93.7. So now you know the top women's Y2K items that are trending on Poshmark right now. These styles are hot and flipping fast, so definitely keep an eye out when you're sourcing. And if you want to take it a step further, check out my next video where I show you how to date vintage clothing so you'll know exactly what era your finds are from and how to list them with the right keywords for maximum profit. Tap here and I'll see you there.